Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First Partner. It is Thursday, June 18th, 2026. How the hell are you, Crispy?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Uh, Listening to a podcast on the walk this morning, in Coded, and the phrase something like relentless self-trust
Mm.
or immovable self-trust came to mind as a power for any human being right now, if you can get there. Um, so feeling good about me having some of that right now and taking on just about every norm and best practice that we can, uh, taking them head on. Um, and today, that brings us to the concept of uh, thanks to AI, making information so readily available to everybody and abundant, if you will. Uh, it's I'd argue it hasn't made sense for a while to think you know something that they don't, and you're gonna use that to win. Um, but yeah, like principle number five uh, here for value first partner. And again, we're going through seven principles as it relates to, in our case, like how to be a value first partner. We will advance transparency over information asymmetry. This means we will share relevant information freely rather than withholding for perceived competitive advantage. We'll communicate challenges and limitations honestly rather than overselling capabilities. We'll make pricing and value exchange clear and understandable rather than creating complexity. We're going to avoid hidden agendas and undisclosed motivations rather than maintaining information advantage. And we're going to create environments where questions are welcomed and answered directly rather than deflective. Uh, we can do that, right? Just me,
Doesn't happen very often in partner world, but we can do it. Yes.
right? Why don't we?
I think the big thing is that a lot of partner programs are driven by a quota from the software partner. And the thing that ends up happening is the partnership is solely built upon the ability to hit that quota, and it's not treated as following those mantras, and the outcome is hitting the quota instead, which is a very different frame of mind for how the partner program works. So ultimately, partner programs are tasked with generating revenue from partnerships, and ultimately it does not always have the partner's best interest in mind. It's because it's a huge question that you're asking the service provider to do, which is, can you build a business around my platform? It's a huge task. I mean, that's an enormous question. And so there's not a lot of great partner programs out there, to be honest. I think HubSpot's is declining as well, actually. And I think it's because there has been more focus put into what are the revenue attainment goals as that are built into the partner program as we scale this, with a contradictory initiative, which is let's remove partner resources at the same time. You can't have both. Those are opposing forces.
Yeah, like um, they are, and like I think people just don't know what to do in this world where like the things you used to depend on me for, you no longer need
Yeah.
to depend on me. And now what's my value? And hopefully, like, just watch this show and listen to us, and you figure out what your value is. And this takes me back, like, man, so much baggage related to um, industrial manufacturing companies that do not want to do social media
Mm.
because then everybody else might see it Like, meanwhile, we have distributors and sales channel that are begging for like any kind of marketing material, messaging, like what's going on, what's new. And if we just got rid of the concept of like, oh, we need to be productive, like the way I always put it, it's like if you think you're keeping it from one competitor, you're probably keeping it from 100 possible customers or 1,000 possible customers and all of your partners. And uh, like the concept of control and all that. Meanwhile, especially now, just ask AI, ask Google, hey, what's the price of that thing? And like the difference now is going to give you a price, right? Do you, as the business, want to be in charge of that narrative? If so, you have to be telling people like what the price is, what the new thing is. Otherwise, everybody else can be talking about it. And if you've ever looked for prices for something like industrial equipment where it's not on the website, you will find like secondary marketplaces and used equipment on eBay. And that's guess what? That sets the price real quick, for buyers out there. And the same thing is true for, different levels of partnership, different tiers getting access to different parts of, the resources and information. And it's just the wrong, it's just not, there's no more value there. Like whether you're trying to tier up or be better, like that's table stakes. Like communicate with us. Like
Mhm.
give us the information, put us in the position of success. And then again, the information available usually into how other partners are doing, how other industries are thinking about it. There's so much data in the system where if you just like unlocked it, wow, watch the goals just like come true left and right.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people get caught up in. You mentioned the competitor piece, then that kind of stands out to me. I listen to the Founders podcast. It's great. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. There's an episode on Steve Jobs whenever he left Apple and went to Next and then returned back to Apple. And he would always say, you're often not competing against another company. You're competing against your own ability to execute faster, better, and more consistently. I think a lot of companies don't realize that is they're afraid to pursue new things because they're worried about, oh, if I do this, my competitors will catch on. And usually that's honestly not the case. Competitors don't have like these tabs on you or the what's the quote that I hear? People don't think about you as much as you think they do.
Right.
Is as often what I've heard this referred to as before, and I think that's very
Yeah,
true.
I used to say like, man, if this distracts them and they try to change their business model like plan for the next year, like go for it.
Yeah,
Like that's not going to
exactly.
go well for them, right?
Yeah, like it's good if they do that. Honestly, like it means that that you're doing the right things if that happens. Like that's a clear signal that what you're doing is working, if anything. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think people get consumed in this death spiral of if I do this, someone's gonna another company's gonna catch on, or if I do this, I need to make sure I have some sort of return on it in a partner program. I need to make sure that I'm scratching your back, you scratch mine next, and I'm gonna keep tabs on it. And it becomes this trading and bartering game in partner programs that is just unhealthy. It's not. It's a transaction program, not a partner program at that point.
right. Um, and and the fact is with like most of these now, AI says you just can't have it. You
Yeah,
just can't have it anymore. So
for
stop
sure.
trying, right? And this
Hmm.
is like every it's always been amazing to me how hard it's been for me to advocate for like whenever you're in those core values, like development scenarios and people start discussing it, like it's so hard to get trust and transparency to be like one of the core values. And it's like, man, if we just did that, watch all of this bullshit and gray area like games of people not knowing where they stand and like am I doing the right thing right now, what's expected of me, all of these places where unless you're over communicating, like you're not communicating enough, and it's creating all these spaces for anxiety and uncertainty. Meanwhile, you just don't even have to communicate when there's transparency,
Mhm.
right? And when you just provide access to the things, like that's a like a great example. Just because we launched the website and launched the new web page doesn't mean the whole world all of a sudden like knows about it unless we're telling them. And even then, we have to tell them 20 times for them to see it the one time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's just this, and I honestly think, I mean, this is likely a business wide problem. It transcends industry, but for some reason in SaaS, I mean, because I went from oil and gas, I mean, you and I are both in Houston. And so I went from oil and gas to working in SaaS, and then as a freelancer and worked in a bunch of different industries. So I can fully say with confidence, SaaS is one of the most insecure industries when it comes to the way that they do go to market. It's pretty wild. And I don't know why it's like that. Maybe it's because it's so heavy marketing driven, and like there's just insecurities around it in the sense of, oh, people are going to steal my content. SaaS is a big universe, and so you can recycle a bunch of stuff because products are products. I don't know why it's like that, but it's just there's a fear of being authentic, and there's a fear of being forthcoming. There's a fear of being real with your customer base, and you just want to target the same people with the same messaging over and over again and not take any risks, because that's the way it's always been done, is a reason to keep doing things the same, which is that's not how you scale billion-dollar companies.
It is not. And that's another good point. It's like when we try to cherry pick like what the successful companies are doing and we focus on like, oh, getting good at profitability and margin management, and
Mhm.
instead of focusing on how great those companies are at communicating inside and outside of the business,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, again, like a lot of times those companies have full departments, full parts of the organization designed for communication and training and like brand and all that stuff. And maybe you don't have, like, if you're smaller, the resource for that. But guess what? AI can help you, with that now. Even if you're like struggling with the concept of like, man, how do we get better at communicating? Because in a way that we're not giving everything away, because there is human domain expertise on your side. But even there, it's like, I think I first really saw this in action from, Marcus Sheridan, the Ask You Answer. Like, just because you get, especially now, like just because you give everybody the answers, like here's the prompt template, here's the agent, just here's all the markdown files.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean they're all of a sudden gonna know and be able to use it to be successful. Like 1 out of 10 maybe
Yeah.
will, but that other 9 are now gonna know that you're the person. Like you're the person to go to get this stuff done, and they don't have time or they don't want to like add that. So it's like, hey, let's partner up, right? Literally, like, man, you're the partner I've been looking for. And now I don't have to. But as we think about that, it's like, okay, what value do I have? And I'm gonna, freely give to you. So now it makes sense, to partner
Yeah.
up.
What's really funny is this hits on a data point that I always found interesting when I was at Superd, and it's the top 10% of the partner program is the one that produces the most results. And so people tend to spend their time on supporting the top 10%. In reality, what that means is that most partner programs are racing to the bottom and making it very easy as far as barriers of entry uh, to become a partner. And that's kind of if you want to pivot this scenario back to the service providers or even the SaaS companies in this situation, it's don't let everyone be a partner. I think that's like very powerful in today's, if we're working on fixing what the partner ecosystem and landscape looks like, it would be way more picky with who you allow into your partner program and say no. Like, because it's just becomes this. There's 7,000 fucking HubSpot partners, and I bet you 3,000 of those haven't even like closed a deal. They're just a partner because they heard about it. You know what I mean? And they're just like doing research on ChatGPT. But yeah, I mean, it results in this vicious cycle of there's 7,000 partners. You can't build a support system around 7,000 partners. You can build a support system around, 700, which is that top 10%, and focus around those areas. But then the middle layer gets super pissed about not having the support system because they're trying to get in the top 10%. But it's this vicious cycle of good support goes to good partners. The medium partners that are looking to become that next level kind of get the shaft a little bit, where they don't get the same level of resources or the same, MDF or whatever you want to call it. So it's a hard problem to solve ultimately. And I think that the more that we can focus on building relationships in partner ecosystems that are real, which means if you're not a good fit for partner program, then let's not, be a partner. Just that, approach alone would change things massively.
Yeah. And it's another place where the complexity could be embraced because you now have access to AI that can help you manage like a lot of my challenge of being, and everybody's having to deal with this now that they're changing, partner links and all that stuff. Like, not everybody wants to do sales, right? There's 300,000 customers that already have HubSpot and don't necessarily need to buy more. They all need help with HubSpot.
Yep.
And I have to be a part of the partner program if they're going to not pay for an additional seat, right? To let me in their portal and help them out. And so like, and I think we talked about this before, like there's sales channel, partners. This is where like you can look to spaces like industrial where you've got partners, like of course the guy that's doing the field installation, you're not going to ask him to sell stuff. Like, right? You've got different, like a whole different class of partners that are designed to sell stuff and like crush it, right? That same opportunity exists in SaaS all over the place. It's just, and I'm thinking about this out loud, since we've tied partner programs to percentage kickbacks, we don't know how to create these different partner classes, right?
Yeah.
And if we can, like, I'm working hard this summer to help like define value. Like, what does the value exchange need to be for you to let me have a partner seat or partner access without a number on my head? Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a big piece of it, I think, is SaaS doesn't care a lot about retention as much as they do about new revenue. They're so concerned about new revenue because new revenue moves the needle. And if they seriously cared about retention, then they would prioritize a provider type of program and like what it means to service these types of customers. Because as of right now, the only metric that I know of that is anything close to measuring a partner's retention rate it's customer dollar retention, I think, in HubSpot's partner program is what it's called. And there's one data point or one threshold, which is you can't be an elite partner unless you have like 90% customer dollar retention rate. And that's it. Literally nothing else. Nothing else.
That's what like, and if you cannot like come to those kinds of terms where it's like, what do you want? Oh, we need that too. Like, get out of the partner business. like, it's one conversation that either side probably doesn't even know they can have right now because everything's been focused on like, again, the commissions, for everybody and net new. Well, we all know how impactful it is to not have retention, like not have adoption, right? It's so interesting, like to hear people just out loud say, "Yeah, we know how important that is." It's just hard. It's just hard to do it. Hard to create programs that manage that and support that. It's like you're not trying at this point. You're just not. Like we can go as fast as we want to go. We can be as agile as we need to be. We can be as authentic as we want to be, thanks to like delegating complexity to AI while still being in the loop, of course, but just giving people voices that have never had them before, right? Doesn't mean everybody gets what they want, but now we're in a place to figure it out, right? If you're not asking the questions, you can't get the answers.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's a tough landscape. It's a hard problem to solve for sure.
Have you seen like I mean, what are some good examples that come to mind as far as like people getting close or having nailed it?
It's interesting. One that I think is worth keeping eyes on is the Claude Anthropic Partner
Yes.
Program. I saw this for the first time yesterday, actually, and so I DM'd my team about it. And their barrier of entry to become a partner is fucking ruthless. It is intense. You have to have, and I'm going off memory, so I might be wrong, but it's 10 people certified in Claude. You have to have had 2 joint implementations with Claude, co-sold and co-delivered, and then a case study built upon one of them because there was like a successful experience. And then there was something else as well, I think, but that is pretty intense. That's just to become a partner. That's not post-partner experience. That's to become a partner. You have to prove it to that. But they also put $100 million into their partner program. So
Yeah.
that's one where partners will move for that one. So we're considering that one very heavily right now in terms of what that looks like to become a partner and whatnot. But that's an
Yeah.
intense one.
Yeah. No, we've got and again, I'm hopeful that any like what it takes to deliver, a highly customized Claude based environment, like much more about human like soft skills than it is
Mm,
about technical skills usually. So like I am bullish on the decentralized approach where it's like as long as you can collect humans with human domain expertise, you're always going to be ready to like deliver.
mhm.
And so we've got I think 12 people signed up through Value First Collective, like under the Value First team umbrella. We've been let in um to go through this process. It's going to be interesting to see like if they're amenable to that. And that's where like Claude and Anthropic, I'm getting the same vibes as I've always gotten from HubSpot, where it's like, if there's anybody that might see things differently, right? It's this company. And I would hope that a frontier, lab company in in a world where everybody is still trying to figure out what AI implementation, looks like.
Yeah.
Um, this decentralized approach where you can show up, with the right people at the right time, like is so critical, like to get this to getting this right to the point of like, oh, services involved today. Yeah, I'm not the guy to have that conversation. Let's bring in, this other person,
Yeah.
whatever the conversation happens to be. But and having said that, how strict, and I think we've got until September, to meet these requirements. As they started to release it and let people into the portal, you can tell they are building it as they go.
Mm,
They're adding new things. Like the first time I went in there, not the best experience, was having trouble loading. And it's like, yeah, they're focused on other things, knowing that they can move, right, iteratively.
mhm.
And there's so much of a bigger picture than, hey, let's spend like 3 to 6 months designing this portal experience, and then we're gonna like, nope, we're not in that world. Like, let's deliver it as we can, but then, make sure we're communicating and, making it possible, making it not a black box like activity, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's exciting to think about, right?
I'm curious how it'll work out. That one's a really interesting one.
Yeah. And it's yeah, to think about what an official implementation is like when we're like activating people like, all right, you're gonna have Max. or you're gonna have like just get into Pro, just unlock Cloud Code, and now you
Yeah.
can like upgrade to Max, and now you have an individual subscription. How do we get it into a business subscription? Like, does that count? Like, we get to check that off? Like, it's so interesting, like what those uh I guess official requirements like look like. Um, but we got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to figure this out. And again, so much harder to figure out and also just not possible to not be transparent like
Yeah.
about this, right? Um, so yeah, it's a new world, we keep saying, but still, um, and I wish I could show you the KPIs. I'm working on it. But like if you just show up with value, like you're gonna be rewarded.
Yep.
And I choose to believe that in the situations like the Cloud Partner Program, like if you find a way to show up and deliver value, like you're going to be a part of this new path. Because I don't know exactly how it works all the time, but it's just there's a natural default for AI and intelligence in general to just follow the value, find the value, create the value, extend the value. Uh, so hopefully that's just know you're not alone, and you know, would love to have you come along on the journey, and we'll continue to be here helping light the way. So uh, appreciate you so much, Crispy. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week, man.
Cool.